Hello everyone, my name is NICOLAAS. I'm from South Africa, Cape Town to be specific. I arrived in 2017, so what's it, already 7 years that I'm here in Prague, Czech Republic. In 2017 I came over to play rugby, professional contract, so that's what I'm still doing, and I also recently opened my bistro called Safa Muscle. In 2017, like I said, I got an offer to come over to play rugby here as a sport for 3 years and fell in love, and I just stayed here, yeah. The rugby, world rugby rules is if you stay in a country for 3 years, then you're allowed to play for the national team. So yeah, that is correct, I do play for the national team, and I also play for rugby club Tatra Smichov. To be honest, when I got an offer, I didn't even know Czechs do play rugby. So I had to actually I had to Google where is Czech Republic. I didn't even know it. But yeah, when I got an offer, I Googled it. You know, what do I eat? What is the currency, etc., etc. And that's how it started. Yeah. So I took the offer because it was something new for me, and I was young. I came over when I was 20 years old. So it was a new adventure for a young person, I would say. Yeah. Like I said, you first have to be 3 years in the country to be eligible. And after that 3 years, they invited me to some training camp. We were about 50 people nominated. And yeah, after that, I just got selected to play. My first game, I would say, was probably against Croatia. Yeah, it was good. It was pride for me. You know, like we were singing the national anthem. I was a little bit like crying. You know, it was still emotional for me. So yeah, it was like a bucket list ticked. I mean, that's why I came in 2017 to play rugby. So for me to represent my new home country it was good. It was something special, yeah. Back home, the biggest sport in South Africa is rugby. So to be honest, I've just played rugby my whole life, and we love hunting. And that's where my passion also started, to make dry meat, because we go hunting and then we dry some of the meat. I do remember, like, I arrived here, you know, and you see all these massive buildings and castles and good beer. I mean, yeah, the first impression was the good beer. In South Africa, we have good beer, but it's not like so big varieties of beer. We have more hard alcohol, I would say, and wines. So yeah, I was very impressed with the beer. The biggest shock for me, I would still also say, was the meat prices here, because in South Africa, it's called braaiing, but people know it as grilling. We love braaiing, grilling, like every night, you know, in big steaks. Everyone has like 1 kilo of T-bone for themselves, and here it's not possible because the meat is really expensive, the beef. So that's yeah, people also like to eat here and grill, but it's mostly chicken or pork, yeah, which is, for me, is I would say, culture shock, because I love my beef, yeah. You know, it was during COVID, that's how my product started. I made biltong for myself, and yeah, before I know it, I had friends ordering, etc., etc. And yeah, so I just started online, because online these days everyone has, and thank you to COVID, online is really big. I'm gonna lie if I'm gonna say it was easy to open a bistro. In fact, it was very difficult, and I had lots of thinking, because I mean, I'm selling in a country something totally new. No one knows what biltong is. But as soon as they start tasting it, they actually really love it, yeah. Biltong was discovered, I would say, in the 1600s. You know, when people traveling in Africa, they didn't have fridges. So what they did when they, for example, hunt something like a springbok or whatever, so what they did was they just add, for example, basic spices like salt and pepper, and they just hang it up in the open, in Africa's sun, and that's how it dried, curing the meat, you know, and later on they can eat it again, yeah, as a form of dry meat. How you make this biltong is, first the butcher arrives, you know, with the whole piece of meat. I have to cut it in pieces like this. You marinate it with the typical salt, coriander, Worcester vinegar, etc. You leave it in the fridge for 24 hours, and then you hang it just like this in the biltong dryer to dry, and then you cut it nicely. And afterwards, if you really want to, you can still add spices like chili, Worcester, chutney, red wine, etc. We have different varieties of meat here. So like you can see here, for example, we have the biltong original 100 grams, or if you maybe like to have your own whole piece of meat, you can also have a nice whole piece of meat and you can cut it yourself. And like you can see, this one still has some nice fat on, which is also, in my opinion, the best because the fat holds all the nice flavor. The thing is, I have a family recipe, and I would have to thank my dad and his dad, which means my grandpa, for this recipe, because I mean this recipe is older than me, the best biltong in South Africa. When I came over, I didn't think, you know, like I'm gonna be here like forever, I would say. But after 2 or 3 years, I got really, like, I would say, lonely, and I just, you know, I was speaking to my wife about it, like, hey, I'm the only one here, and it's I don't want to be the only one here from South Africa. So I started the Facebook group, South Africans in Czech Republic, and yeah, before I can even notice it, we were like so many people just joining, and then I started having my first event. It was maybe about 4 years ago, I would say. We all met at the pub, and 50 of us showed up, and I was like, wow. So that was the first event for me, was still like my highlight, I would say, in the 7 years that I'm here. And today, if I do an event, you know, it's difficult to get a space, because, you know, now we're always 150 minimum, and then later on you have to tell them like, hey, sorry, we sold out, we don't have space. So we're really growing, and that's what I love. I love giving back to the community here, and just like for people to meet other South Africans and to help them, because I knew the struggle I went through 7 years ago. So that's why I started also in the community, you know, just for people to talk, to become friends, to share information. Yeah. I know Czechs, they love meat still, and they love dry meat, so they love jerky. And now I can learn them, you know, they can walk in here and I can give them a full experience. South Africa food, wine, spices, and real dry meat, yeah. Because that's what South African people is about. It's just about loving, enjoying, you know, like meeting new people, laughing. They're just, South Africans, people like it's love to have a good time, yeah. Plans for the future is to get, hopefully, this shop up and running, you know, really good. And then I can maybe open up something different to care about. Yeah, we will see what the plans for the future hold.